dress flip-flops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings boy to life. Be with the fuse you light, be good, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked and sat down beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say, what's your name, girl, you're lonely. Can I call you if I ever go down this road? And I can't seem to find the thing I want to say. Girl, you made my day.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this 13th day of April 2023. This show is brought to you by Caldera Lab and calderalab.com. Use promo code 1420lab at calderalab.com for your men's skin care needs, and keep that youthful exuberance in that mug of yours. Guys, when we get a little bit older, you need all the help you can get. Some days you might think you look good, but Caldera Lab will make you look and feel even better. And it's something I've been using for quite a while, and I really get behind this this product that we're pushing here for Belly Up Sports and for ourselves as well. Thank you for making us a part of your day every day. A little bit later this morning, getting the show going. A lot going on in World Headquarters. So to keep the train going, I guess, is one way of putting it. And then once again, thanks to Cody Hall for the opening music there. Made my day. It's a staple here at World Headquarters. We listen to it quite often around here. I really enjoy it. Anyways, the Tampa Bay Rays are off to a 12-0 start. They've tied their franchise record for most wins in a row. They're only one win short of tying the record set by the 82 Braves and the 87 Brewers, who both won 13 in a row to start their seasons off. Winning 12 in a row is impressive no matter when you do it, but to do it when the season first starts is extra impressive. When usually this time of the year, you're just kind of feeling out what your team has and what you've got and how you're going to put the lineup together and everything else. But the thing is with Tampa Bay, and they do this year in, year out, is they can really pitch, and they do things properly. They do things the right way, but they can pitch, and that's a really indicative of the run differential they have of plus 65. I don't want to bore you with stats because those do get a little bit boring on some podcasts to listen to, but it is really impressive. They scored 92 runs so far in their 12 games. That's just over 7.5 per. It's actually like 7.8 per, but anyways, and only given up 26 or 27 runs total in the 12 games that they played so far. So that is really impressive, the way they've been hitting the ball around. Randy Arozarena has really just kept going where he left off in the World Baseball Classic. He's the entertaining guy to watch. Say what you want about the Tampa Bay Rays and where they play at the Trop and everything else, but that Arozarena, he is a star in the making. He's the kind of guy that maybe if he wasn't playing in Tampa, if he was a Yankee or a Dodger or a Padre even nowadays, or Boston or wherever you may want to be, Arozarena would be on billboards all over North America. He's a star. He's good for the game of baseball. I like the way he conducts himself, and he has a really good time playing the game. And he's kind of one of those guys that you got to go. Say what you want about the record. I mean, they haven't really played anybody so far. They've had a pretty easy go of it. They started with Detroit, who's struggling. Then they had Washington, who's going to lose 120 games, and then they moved on to the Oakland A's, who's also probably going to lose 120 games. And right now they got a Boston team that they play later on today to try to get the record. They got a Boston team later on that's going to be a 500 team. So yeah, they haven't really played anybody, but you can only beat who's on your schedule. And going in, night out, early in the season like this is good. It's good for a team to get those wins, knock off wins. You have 7% of your schedule already gone. When you've won all 12 of those games, it's better than losing all 12 or going 500. Those are games you can stack up wins where you might have a little bit of problem. You get in the dog days of summer into August where wins aren't as easy to get. You're going to wonder what's going to happen when they get into Toronto this weekend when they face the Jays in the newly revamped. Oh, I heard, holy Christ, what a commercial that is. Let's talk about that for half a second before we get back to Tampa. But I understand that Rogers owns the Toronto Blue Jays, and I get it, and it's a thing. And they spent $300 million on the renovations of the outfield, the seating, and the fan engagement, and everything else. But it's not a freaking commercial. I'm there to watch a baseball game. Not, I guess I could just turn it down. But everywhere you turn, everywhere you listen, they're talking about these renovations, on and on and on. It's great. I get it. But can we have the commercials before the game and talk about the renovations? It was even on Overdrive yesterday. They were talking about it, about the fan experience and how they're trying to make it better. No, you did it to make money. That's why you did the whole thing, was to make money, to get more people into the building to sell more beer. Don't pretend it was for anything else, Blue Jays and Blue Jays brass. But anyways, that commercial needs to stop. But no, it's quite impressive the way Tampa can do this year in, year out. And I don't know where I brought it up, or if I brought it up on this show or the Belly Up Baseball show that we did before the season started. But you wonder when other teams are going to start to go after the Tampa Bay model of how they have their franchise and how they get their team together, and year in, year out, how they don't spend any money. I don't know what their payroll is, but I know it's in the bottom third of Major League Baseball, and they have obviously this 12-game winning streak that could go on for 13 today. But year in, year out, they're right there. They make the playoffs. They're licking the jar to win a championship every year, and to spend no money and do it. And you wonder when other teams are going to follow on this lead and get this business model and say, okay, we don't need to spend all this money. We don't need to give $40 million to this guy and $40 million to that guy. You look at my New York Yankees, how they're spending how much money year in, year out, and they haven't won a championship since 2009, right? They haven't been in the World Series since 2009. And so you wonder when the Steinbrenners are going to go, hey, you know what? Why don't we just not spend this money and do what the Tampa Bay Rays do? And then we have a situation where we can, save money and not just guarantee and lose. Because they're like, the Yankees are no closer to a World Series, and the Dodgers are no closer to a World Series. And who else spends money? San Diego is no closer to a World Series than the Tampa Bay Rays are. And the Rays right now, they're 12-0. Like I said, they have a pretty easy schedule so far, but you can only play who's in front of you. They got the they got the Jays this weekend. The Jays are a very good baseball team. They squeaked one out last night against Detroit in what was a very good baseball game. And Guerrero's turned himself into one hell of a first baseman. I was a little bit leery a few years ago when he first got in the league about his size and everything else and his defense. And everybody knew he could hit, but the way that guy can play first baseman and his flexibility is unbelievable to watch that guy, what he does. And it's a treat to watch. If we could just not talk about the renovation at Skydome anymore, I still call it Skydome, Rogers Center. If we could not talk about that anymore, it'd be greatly appreciated. If people are going to go, they're going to find out for themselves. You don't need to have a commercial. There's my rant for the day for that anyways. And another thing that's kind of been pissing me off a little bit. Swearing 9:30 in the morning, the caffeine's just kicking in, I guess. But this thing about teams, about the Milwaukee Brewers, they started it. Other teams are doing it now. I know they're doing it in Houston. There was a piece on CNN this morning talking about beer sales, and because the games are going so much quicker, revenue is down. Games that, like, they used to stop selling beer in the 7th inning, and it was reasons unbeknownst. Who knows? Who cares? Why bother? But now they're because revenues are down because the games are ending so much quicker. So beer sales are down. So people are starting to complain that they should not be selling beer because that one extra inning is going to sober people up. And there was a reason why they stopped selling it in the 7th inning. And I hate to break it to you people, they didn't stop selling beer in the 7th inning to get people sober. They don't care who comes sober, leaves sober. They don't care. They want more revenue. They only stopped selling beer in the 7th inning for one reason and one reason only. That was to get the people who work in who work in the concessions out, so they don't have to pay them anymore. They want those guys in, out, see you later. But the bottom line was this: they have more money, or they were losing money, so they figured, okay, if we pay the concession guys this much more money, we're probably still going to make up the difference in comparison. It was never ever about people getting sober, people being able to drive home. And you know what? If you've ever had 4 or 5 beers or whatever it may be, that 2 innings of baseball isn't going to sober you up. It's not. It's really, really not. If this 4 or 5 beers, it's complete bullshit that people are thinking that that's the reason why they're doing this, and people and these social justice warriors saying they can't do that. People are going to, there's going to be more people driving drunk. That one extra inning of baseball, it wasn't sobering people up. People who were going to drive drunk were going to drive drunk regardless. It has nothing to do with what inning it stopped in. It was about sales. They don't care. It had nothing to do with the seventh inning and getting people sober in that time frame. It has nothing to do with it. Not a thing. Most, like if you go to a Yankee game, most people take the subway anyways, right? How many people actually drive to games? Like you're pounding beers before the game, you're pounding beers afterwards. It's not a baseball team's responsibility to make sure that you're leaving a ball game sober. They want to make money off of you. That's why they do it. It was never stopping that one inning earlier and now having it one inning later isn't going to make or break things. They wanted people out of the building when the game was over, but you know what? Now it's like, well, have another beer, sit around, watch the post game show or whatever it might be. It had nothing to do with anything. It's because lineups are long, the game is quicker. That's why they did it. It has nothing to do with a person driving sober. And if you know that you've had too many beers and shouldn't be driving anyways from the baseball game or a hockey game or whatever it may be, then that's what it is. It had nothing to do with anything. So these people need to just cool it, do some research, go to a game and see what the deal is. I don't know. There's my rant for the day. And now I got two of them today on the baseball show. But anyways, Tampa, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are going to the games a lot more down there in Florida, filling up the old Trop. It's not the sexiest team, but they're winning. They're 12-0. You'd rather be 12-0, maybe 13-0 after today than 6-6. The Yankees are 8-4 right now, but 12-0 is 4 games better, and that's just the way it is. And you're stacking up wins now. It's a good thing to do. They're pitching really well. They've only given up, I think, in the 12 games, their starting rotations only given up 10 earned runs total. And so if you have inning eaters like that, like the Tampa Bay Rays have, where these inning guys can just eat innings, and you get to your bullpen, which can get shaky over time because, like I've said before, you start putting the ball in too many people's hands, you might run into trouble, right? And so it's just because the more human beings get their fingers on something, the more chances they're going to screw it up. But their inning eating, starting pitching has been the difference for the Rays so far. And you got to think they're going to keep it going. If they can win 2 or 3 out in Toronto, they have the Cincinnati Reds early next week too. So that should be 3 more wins right there. So they can you want to stack up wins with the teams you're supposed to beat and not lose games to teams that you're not supposed to lose to. And that's what the Tampa Bay Rays are doing right now. And they're taking care of business. And that's what you want your baseball team to do early. And it's impressive to start the season off no matter who you're playing on a 12-0 run. Anyways, what do we got today? On this day in 1997, the Hartford Whalers played their last game in the National Hockey League before they moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. The Whalers were in Hartford since 1974 and joined the NHL in the NHL WHA merger in 1979. The Whalers only had 3 winning seasons in their time in Hartford. Kevin Dineen scored the last goal in Whalers history in a 2-1 victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Whalers had an NHL record of 534, 709, and 177 ties before relocating to Raleigh, North Carolina, who still use the goal song Brass Bonanza when they use when the Hurricanes wear their retro Whaler jerseys. Brass Bonanza. My brother played that when they were walking out of the courtyard when they had their wedding. Brass Bonanza. I think that the Victoria Royals also use it, the lowly Victoria Royals. But anyways, there's the Hartford Whalers. I always liked them. Sean Burke was a hell of a goaltender too. I like the Whalers, but they couldn't get people to go to the games. It's that simple. And happy 49th birthday to retired hockey player Sergei Gonchar, born on this day, my age too, in 1974 in Russia. I'm not even going to try to Chelyabinsk, Russia. Gonchar was drafted in the first round of the 1992 draft, 14th overall to Washington Capitals. Gonchar played 20 years with Washington, Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Dallas, Boston, and Montreal. 270 goals, 591 assists, 811 points. 4-time All-Star, 1-time Stanley Cup champion with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So happy birthday to Sergei Gonchar. Came up with a new idea. We're going to be doing something on Sunday nights for the foreseeable future. Sunday nights, 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. That's 10 o'clock Eastern for all you people who don't understand how that works. But we're going to try something new. It's going to be a lot of fun. We think it's going to work. It's called Last Call. It's going to be a half-hour live show up on YouTube. I don't know if we're going to put it up on as a podcast form yet. I don't know if we're going to have that. We're just going to try something with our YouTube, trying to grow that channel a little bit. it. There's a long story. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel today. And on Sunday night, 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. This week, we're going to have some different people from the Belly Up world. We're going to do a NHL season post-mortem and an NHL preview to what went right, what went wrong, and some predictions that we're going to talk about on Sunday night live on YouTube. So make sure you guys tune into that. Tell your friends, everything else. It'll be a lot of fun. Have a beer, crack open a couple, and we'll last call 14-20 style. Should be a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you very much for all of us who watched the show today and who listened. We're going to listen later on to the podcast. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to our show, talk to people about it, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel today. And as always, everybody, it doesn't matter. Oh, and recording the show at 14-20 Dave tonight. So we'll be up to our usual Thursday night shenanigans. Those ones are usually a lot of fun. Anyways, as always, thank you for listening to our show. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tonight. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.